morning, everybody, and welcome back to Beat the Bell, presented by Kane Capital. Hope you guys are all having an awesome trading week. Let's jump straight into our panel, starting with Diamond Trades. Diamond, good morning.
Alejandro, what's going on? Excited to be back on. We have some interesting stuff to cover today with Microsoft and Google yesterday. Let's get into it.
All right, and stock Snipa.
Good morning. God bless America. Let's get some bags today.
Ramsay Rippers. And welcome back to the show, Moe Mamba.
Thank you. Good to be back. Good morning. Miss you guys, and let's get it.
All right. We go straight to Diamond for Fed forecast.
What's up? So let's do we can start with the economic calendar, which definitely heats up into the end of the week. We have durable goods that just came out. Actually, we can get those numbers for you, but into the end of the week, we've got GDP growth rate tomorrow, along with pending home sales and initial jobless claims, as well as core PC on Friday. Core PC is actually what the Fed prefers to watch instead of CPI, PPI, so that one's going to be important. And then UMich sentiment as well on Friday. That durable goods number came in at plus 3.2% versus 0.7% expected and minus 1.2% last. So that is basically the only high impact news that we've got for today. But last night we had some pretty important news in terms of earnings. So yesterday we had Microsoft earnings. We can start there. Microsoft reported a double beat on both the top and bottom lines. They reported $2.45 of earnings per share versus the $2.23 EPS expected. Revenues came in at about $52.9 billion versus $51.01 expected. They gave guidance of about $54.8 to $55.8 billion for the next quarter, which is slightly higher than analysts had anticipated. I believe the analyst expectations were that lower end, that 54.8. But if you take the median of Microsoft's range, that would be above the analyst expectation. So a small guide up there. On the conference call, CFO Amy Hood said that AI will likely be a key revenue driver for the business going forward. In her words, we will continue to invest in our cloud infrastructure, particularly AI-related spend, as we scale to the growing demand by customer transformation. We expect the resulting revenue to grow over time. Microsoft's Azure cloud business, which was a key growth driver for the company, reported about a 27% increase year over year, which was in revenues, 27% increase in revenues year over year, but that was less than the 31% year over year that they reported last quarter. That Azure business, even though it has been like a massive growth engine for Microsoft, it's slowing down on a quarter over quarter basis. So that's something to pay attention to going forward. CEO Satya Nadella said he actually touched on the multi-billion-dollar investment that Microsoft had made in OpenAI, who's the creator of ChatGPT, and their plans to use their investment for rollouts of new models of its Bing search engine, as well as other product line enhancements, saying that we feel that we have a good lead talking about in the AI space, and we have a differentiated offering up and down the stack. Microsoft was hovering at plus 9% yesterday and after hours from Tuesday's close. Next, we had Google. Google also reported earnings yesterday. Alphabet, which is the Google parent company, reported. Google reported as well a beat on both the top and bottom lines, breaking a 4 earnings streak of missing estimates. So they had actually missed profit estimates or revenue estimates, actually 4 consecutive earnings in a row. They were finally able to break that streak. EPS came in at $1.17 versus 1.07 expected. Revenue $69.79 billion versus 68.9 expected. That's a 3% increase on a year-over-year basis. Google, like other advertisers, has been facing headwinds from companies reeling in that online ad spending in the face of the economic uncertainty. One of the first places that you want to go if you are really unsure about where your revenue is going to come from is to that marketing segment, and that's where a lot of people decide to cut back costs. And obviously, if you're an advertiser like Google, like Meta, that is going to create some problems for your business. The ad revenues came in higher than expectations, but still negative on a year-over-year basis. The story around Google this year has really been one of competition for the company. So Google still owns 90% market share in search, but new products like Microsoft's Bing, which has been backed by OpenAI's ChatGPT. They're sort of trying to integrate that and have that be a competitor on the search front. And then you have TikTok also emerging as a competitor to Google's YouTube and short form video. So this makes investors question what is once seemed like a really like impenetrable moat for Google. Questioning if that's really still going to be the case going forward for the company. It was reported that just last week, Samsung was considering changing the default search engines on their phones from Google to Bing, and the stock actually dropped 3% on that last week. So these things are starting to manifest themselves, in the market. And I think that investors are starting to at least get a little bit concerned here at Google. I mean, I do still think they're obviously the leader in the space, but it's definitely something to watch out for when you have these competitors that don't seem like they're going away anytime soon, right? Like as long as TikTok can continue to execute, as long as Microsoft can continue to execute, there's going to be problems for Google. The last thing I will say is that Google mentioned the word AI 78 times on their earnings call yesterday, and Microsoft mentioned it 64 times on their earnings call yesterday. So definitely still seeing that AI theme sort of play out in the markets. These companies really trying to say, hey, look, and we talked about this on Monday, right? You have a quarter that isn't the greatest. Yes, they beat analyst expectations, both Microsoft and Google, but yet a lot of numbers were down on a year-over-year basis, as was expected. How do you sort of divert people's attention away from that? You say AI 150 times combined, and that usually does the trick. And they're both trading higher in after hours. So it seems like they did a good enough job. That's it for me here at Fed Forecast. I will pass it back to Alejandro.
All right, awesome stuff there, Noah. Thank you, sir. Let's talk about the system. So, bit of a regime change here that we're witnessing in real time. Futures selling off a bit this morning as well, tapping 40.88, I believe. So, why are things changing and what looks differently? So, for the first time since March, this is the 1 hour 50 SMA, the 30-minute 50 SMA, the SPX charts, as you guys know, this is the system. Let's go back to the last time that bears were confidently trading below, putting in a downtrend below the hourly 50 SMA. We have to go back to early March, okay? Bulls recover the 50 SMA, and we traded higher for all of April, strong uptrend until now. We got the break back down below the 50. The 50 starts to come down, and we got that sell signal, the bearish cross of the 10 SMA below the 50 SMA, and that was the first hint that bears finally had a chance to gain some control of the market, and that is exactly what happened. So now, in order to get bullish again, we're going to need to wait for the 50 SMA, for SPX to reclaim the 50 SMA on both the 30-minute and 1 hour charts. Very simple stuff there. But again, no surprise as to when the sell-off came. But this is another good example of how we can use the system to wait until we get that sell signal, to wait until we get that buy signal, the breaks of the 50 SMAs, instead of trying to time the top. Because if you try to do that for a month straight, you would have been in a lot of trouble, especially trading options, right? Because things were mostly moving flat. All right, so that is the scene going into today. So as long as we're trading below the 50 SMA on both the 1 hour and 30-minute charts, bears are going to remain in control. What we saw for all of April was this buy the dip, right? We were able to buy the dips at the 50 SMA, buy the dip, looking for opportunities to trade long. Well, now you can think the flip, the opposite is going to be true, right? Short the pops until we get the break back over the 50 SMA. So bears in control. Earnings season, however, so things do change very quickly. So important to keep an eye on earnings. But that's the scene going into today, guys. All right. So now we're going to pass it over to Ramsay Rippers for Bet the Bell. Do it for the system. I'm going to pass it over now to Ramsay Rippers for Bet the Bell. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. What's up, guys? Good morning. All right, let's get right into it. Let's see the stats, green or red. We got a good one today. Pretty interesting one. Still a lot of earnings, a lot of big names to come to report this week. We got Meta at the close today. I believe Amazon, Intel, and Snapchat Thursday, and some energy names on Friday. Let's get right into it. Green or red today? Hondo, what do you got?
I am going to go red today.
Red. Diamond.
I'm gonna go green. I'm actually in a long from pre-market. We're up like 8 points. Hopefully that continues. Green.
Targets. What are we looking for?
Upside 41.15 would be nice. For first target, 41.15-ish. Over that, anything over that is cherry on top.
Gotcha. Mo, what do you got? Welcome back.
Thank you, brother. Nice haircut, man. Looks
Appreciate
good.
it.
Looks good. Let's see. I think this is tough, man. I'm kind of rusty here, but I mean, shit, my record doesn't say much anyways. Let's go with green.
And Snipes.
Yeah, I'm gonna take green also.
Freshly shaven.
Yep. I feel like a baby.
Looks good, my man. Looks good. All right, let's get into our next question of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about Google and their ability to maintain a competitive advantage on their opposition. Is Google's moat in danger? Diamond did a really good job touching on Google. Their earnings reported a double beat yesterday, breaking that 4 consecutive earnings report streak of missing estimates. When we talk about their moat, Diamond basically covered it perfectly. I don't need to talk too much about it. Microsoft's Bing, OpenAI, ChatGPT, basically eliminating that search engine process, and TikTok versus Google's YouTube. What do we think for the future? Diamond, why don't you just take it away and dive a little bit deeper into it?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the fact that we're even talking about it is the start of like, and again, like I'm not saying that this is Google's downfall by any means, right? Google is still in the lead in both of these races, whether it's short form video, whether it's ads on search. Like they're still far light years ahead. So I don't want to make it sound like, this is the death of Google, but at the same time, like 5 years ago, we would never be talking about a competitor to YouTube. We would never be talking about a competitor to Google search. And here we are today with two seemingly serious competitors that you can't ignore, right? I mean, it doesn't look like TikTok is going away anytime soon unless it gets banned. And Microsoft, though they've yet to be able to execute on, the whole Bing ChatGPT integration, you start to think about what that would be like. I mean, a lot of people, ChatGPT's obviously caught popularity, a ridiculous amount of popularity already. And, everybody sort of see the power of it. I think that one will come more down to if they can really execute on their idea there, Microsoft with the whole Bing thing. But yeah, I would say that if you look at it in the sense of the moat today versus the moat 3 years ago, you would have to say 3 years ago it seemed like Google was under a fortress, and now it seems like they're going to war, right? They've got to maintain their competitive advantage, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, right? It's no longer just sort of sit on your coattails and ride it out and ride out to success. You've got to actually compete. And Google's good at competing. So, I mean, there's who's to say that they can't win, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
Hondo, any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think that Google's in trouble at all, realistically. And the reason I say that is because of their user base. 4 billion strong, right? So this is how I think about it. ChatGPT and Microsoft kind of caught Google flat-footed as far as the AI stuff goes. But I'm imagining a situation where whether it's a year down the line, 2 years down the line, and not to say that ChatGPT is also going to be improving their product, and there's going to be, right now we have like ChatGPT 4 or 5, there's going to be like ChatGPT 20. But I'd imagine that Google, once they figure their shit out, it's a completely different ballgame where ChatGPT has to go to other companies and integrate with other apps. Google has 4 billion people waiting to use their AI bot. And I'm imagining a situation where I go to Google and Bart is asking me, or I can just ask Bart, go book me plane tickets. Go book me a hotel. Bart, do this, do that. It's I don't think it's of concern. I can see right now why it would appear from the surface worrisome for Google, because they are currently behind in the race, but their user base and database is the most valuable in the world, and you really can't underestimate that.
Fair. I like it. Can't disagree. All right, let's move on to our last question, more so topic. Sticking with Google, Ryan, pull up the tweet. So Google CEO earned pretty absolutely incredible, $226 million last year, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, only $2 million of that was actually in salary. The rest is bonuses and stock. I saw did a little bit of digging, seeing some more numbers included within that compensation package. They spent almost $6 million on personal security for I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Sundar Pichai. Let's call him SP. What do you guys think? You think he's underpaid or overpaid? Noah.
He runs one of the most important companies on earth. I think it's always tough to say, like, if these guys are over or underpaid. I mean, as long as they're executing, like, if it turns out that they're able to fend off this advance from both TikTok and Microsoft / OpenAI, he's going to look like a genius. And if it winds up not working, you're going to say, how on earth did you get $250 million in 2023? So I think these decisions are always easier to say, like, in hindsight, after you look at how they performed. I mean, how he's performed thus far. I mean, they're doing fine. So, I mean, so far so good for him, right? I think if they start to feel even more pressure from TikTok, ChatGPT, you're gonna have to start questioning, all right, what's going on here?
Tim Cook, I believe he took home, they slashed his earnings this year. Apple did, from to 89 million. So Tim took definitely a pretty big pullback, 10% pullback, and you got SP taking home 225. Unreal. Hondo.
I mean, I don't know what the guy does, so I'm not going to speak on, but $226 million is fucking insane. That's so much money, especially given the earnings recession that we're clearly in. So yeah, I would just, based off of the numbers, I would say he's overpaid. Not to say he's not deserving of that money, but that seems pretty outrageous.
Yeah, maybe just a tad bit. Mo.
No, he's not deserving of that money. 226 million, Honda, you hit at it, brother. That's a shitload of money, man. I don't care what you do, man. $226 million is a lot of money.
Is that salary or is that like bonus included?
No, so the breakdown was $2 million in salary, and then like I think 180.
I was gonna say, could you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. It's not like the Google board woke up and said, here's a $250 million. Like, I'm sure that this was in a contract. If you do X, Y, and Z, you get this amount of stock, this amount of options, this amount of salary. If he hit his benchmarks, like, what are you supposed to do? Not pay him?
Yeah. No, I believe it's $2 million flat in salary, and his security is 3 times that, which is completely compensated and paid for.
Hey, he hit the goals, made it. I mean, he got his money, but that's still a lot of money. There's no person that should be making 226 and say they're underpaid or they're well paid and not overpaid. That's just a lot of money. I don't care what checklist you hit, what goals you hit it in life, but that's just a lot of money. 226 million. My God. Yeah, no, that's a lot. Overpaid.
Yeah, Mo, that's 10 million more than you. What the hell, dude?
I wish, brother. I wish.
Snipe.
I mean, shit. I'm gonna have to agree with Mo's take on that a lot, but 226 million in a year, that's insane. Like, just thinking about that much money, that's so much. But Yeah, like I'm just like I think Diamond was the one saying it, but if he hit his benchmarks, like if he did everything that he was supposed to do, and I know that like he wouldn't qualify for these bonuses if he didn't do certain things like X, Y, and Z. They're not just pulling these numbers out of their ass. There's definitely like a quota and things he has to do. So I think that if he did do that, then yeah, he should get what he was signed under in the contract if he did what he did.
Agreed. Alrighty, that's going to do it for it. Bet the Bell. We'll pass it back to Hondo.
All right, guys, we're going to go to Mo for Mamba market analysis.
Go ahead here and share my screen. It's massive, massive. They were just infamous trend line right here. No, I'm on mute. Pretty sure you guys can hear me. Finally got it. All right, it's been honestly a whole week since I've actually looked at a SPY daily time frame chart. I've been traveling, as some of you guys know, and got back yesterday. So I'm just taking a look at the chart this morning. I didn't even look at it yesterday, but this morning is my first time taking a look at the chart. So this HNS is still intact. This is still intact. Now, the big zone I was watching was this 413 to 414. Another zone we hit on earlier when we were down here was this 406 to 403. This is a nice daily demand. This is what you want to come through. If we do come through this zone, that's what I'll be watching, right? 406, 403, that's the zone. I want it to come break through and hold on the daily. Now, if we do end up coming through, I think we'll come down here and fill this gap. That's what I'm going to target. That's what I will target. Let's see. We are getting a bounce today. Still early. See where we'll go from here. But 407.33 is pre-market. Now, the two big levels. So my two big levels for the day would be 408.3 and 406. That's the two daily time frame levels and will be my strongest levels. If I do take a day trade on the indices, it will be off those levels. So 408.3 and 406 are the two big levels. Lower time frame levels will be tossed in the Discord in a few minutes. But the big thing again, guys, is this nice demand zone. If we're able to get through, I am targeting this gap fill down here on the daily to fill right through. I'll be surprised if we come back up above this 406. Break through and hold, we'll come down here. That'll be it. Thanks, Hondo.
All right, Mo. Thank you, sir. That's going to do it for this morning show, guys. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. Hopefully you guys are having a good week. Trade smart today. Manage risk. Earnings season. We're in the thick of it. We'll be trading live all day in the Kane Capital Discord. You can go to kane-capital.com to trade with us. Other than that, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we will catch you back here on Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time.